Hello, everyone. So, today we know that is a very important high stake day because we just have our boards exactly 3 days away. So, in this video, I'm going to explain you as to which question in your question paper would have which chapter and the possible chapters you need to concentrate so that you can get that 90 plus in boards and you don't have to waste your time in doing this stuff which are not important. Okay, let's begin. Okay. First, of course, we have section A, section B. Section A consists of that fat book of yours, which is consisting of partnership and all your companies, which is shares, debentures, and financial statement analysis. The second book, on the other hand, has cash flow statement, it has ratios, and then it has comparative and common size. We know it is divided into two sections. Now, when you first start with section A, we have question number one, which is fully objective. Okay, it has MCQs, it has assertion and reasoning, and it has one line answers. Now, remember, this is actually when I'm saying MCQs, it'll be a big sum wherein you would have to solve the sum in order to find out the figure. It is a little difficult and it is time consuming. So, my recommendation here is do this question 1 to 10 right at the end of your paper. So, when you get the 15 minutes of your reading time before your paper begins, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to decide on the options that you attempt. Okay, that means there are several questions that have two options. Which of the two options you're going to attempt is something you have to decide much before in advance. And second, section B is the one you should start the paper with because it is more scoring, and also it has less of calculation involved, more of formatting work. So once you know the format, you can really go fast with the entire section B. Okay, section A, the ideal order you could follow is that you could start from the end, and then at the end, like you can start from question number 10, go backwards. Question 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's one order. The second order, if you guys are really good at three markers, is that do question 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then come and do question number 1. Both of them work fine. Of course, always solve a paper before your main board paper so that you know what is the order that works for you best. Okay. Now remember, in MCQs, they ask a couple of chapters. I will make a small video on what are the chapters from which they have MCQs and what are the topics from which they have usually asked the MCQs from. Okay, so there will be a detailed video for this one. Remember, if something is for 10 marks, the maximum amount of time you can take for it is double it into two. So 20 minutes, not nothing more than 20 minutes. Okay. Next, we have question number two, which is a three marker, always from the chapter retirement or death. Meaning you would have question number 2A, death, and question number 2B, which is retirement, and you would have an option out of the two. So, for the people, for the students who don't want to do both the chapters, a great combination of this is just do death, because death is much easier than retirement. In death, what is it that you have to focus on? Do you know that the starting of the chapter contains how the person who has deceased, you're supposed to give profit sharing to such a person? That is what you need to concentrate. So your entry, if I just want to recollect in a single entry, PNL suspense to the person who has deceased, capital, right? That is what you need to focus on in death. In case of retirement, usually the questions asked are based on revaluation. So if you're good at revaluation, that is also something you can look at, but either one of them, go ahead and do it. Okay. Next, I have issue of shares. Sorry, issue of debentures. In case of issue of debentures, again, three marker. There are two questions that are usually asked from this also. You have question 3A and question 3B. You will have an option out of the two. What is it that they test on? First topic they test on for debentures is consideration other than cash. And the next topic they test on is when redemption is happening at a premium. Do you remember this one? What are you supposed to do in such a case when redemption is happening at a premium? Add on the debit side loss on issue of debentures and add on the credit side to premium on redemption. That is what they're going to test you on. Okay. Next we have is redemption of debentures. This is a chapter which has dates. This is a chapter wherein ledger account is tricky. So this time, most likely they will ask you a ledger account in this case. Of course, this is a compulsory chapter. Okay. So you should be doing redemption of debentures for sure. Okay. Remember, dates are very, very, very important. Revise the dates just before going to exam. Then next we have is goodwill. So this is something new that we are expecting this year. Usually in this place, they ask admission. Okay, but this time they have asked a separate question on goodwill. Please learn on the missing figures of goodwill. That is a backward calculation wherein they'll give you the normal profit. They might give you the capital employed. They'll expect you to find the average profit or something like that. Okay, just revise on all the questions that you're supposed to solve backwards. Okay. Next, question number 6, final accounts of a company. No option, nothing. There will be one straight question and you're supposed to solve it. You're supposed to make the balance sheet of the company, make notes to accounts if necessary. Remember, in this case, the question is very specific as to what they want. Don't do extra. Read the question properly. Why? Because if you do extra, you're wasting your time. When you waste your time, you leave out something at the end. See, accounts paper is quite a difficult paper to finish in itself. Anything you do extra, you will definitely lose out somewhere at the end. Okay. You will not get the time to finish the paper. Okay. Final accounts, what would I concentrate on? See, final accounts, there is no particular topic that is new because when you're doing companies, when you're doing shares, you're doing debentures, you're doing cash flow, when you're doing ratios, you already know how a company's balance sheet looks like. All you need to do is just revise on some things like calls in advance, calls in arrears, interest on calls in advance, interest on calls in arrears. These are some key topics which they can ask, and they ask every 2, 3 years once. Okay. Next, question number 7, 6 marker, admission. Okay. Great question. There will be two options here. One option might concentrate on making a partner's capital account, then basically goodwill, all of this, the whole adjustment. You know, there are big, big sums in admission, right? So one of the big sums, of course, not as big as the textbook. They will make sure that if they're asking it for a 6 mark, it's only 5 or 6 adjustments. Okay. The second option that they would give you, so question number 7A or question number 7B, what they would give you for admission is probably reserves, accumulated profits and losses are not to be distributed. That is one thing most of the students make a mistake on. Please, please revise on that. And second, they can ask you workman compensation reserve, workman compensation claim, investment fluctuation reserve. All this can come in the second question. Okay. Next, question 8, dissolution. Either you'll have journal entries in this if they want to make it confusing, only and only if they want to make it confusing, they'll have a journal entry question. But otherwise, normally what is asked in such a case is a realization account. Okay. So learn this one properly. Very highly scoring. Dissolution is a question you should definitely get your marks in because there's not much they can fool around here. They have to ask whatever is there in the textbook. The chapter is very, very precise. Okay. Next we have is fundamentals. 10 marks. Very, very important chapter. You have two options here. Question 9A, question 9B. From the past 2 or 3 years, the target in fundamentals has been on journal entry, adjusting entry, closing entry for each one of them. Okay. So please, please, please be very particular on knowing how to make the journal. And if you want, you can also, of course, P&L appropriation is a major part of the chapter, and fixed capital method is something that they might ask a question on this year, wherein you'll have a current account and a capital account. Practice that properly. So if I had to pick up two things, I would definitely do from fundamentals. One, I would do the journal entries related to interest on loan. Second, I would definitely do current account and capital account. Okay. Now, this is question 9A, what I just spoke about. Question 9B will be probably on guarantee or past adjustments. They might break up the question. Question 9B also might have two parts. okay, wherein there'll be a small question on guarantee, small question on past adjustments. There's also one topic here wherein if your available profit is less than your appropriation, what are you supposed to do, right? Do you guys know this? Please, if you don't know, you can definitely message me and ask me about it. This is also something they can test you on this year, okay? Next, we have shares. Okay. Shares every year something different. Okay, so what are the key topics? Firstly, there will be a option here, question 10A, question 10B. Okay, question 10A is a proper question. This question might contain oversubscription and pro rata allotment, may or may not have forfeiture depending on how tough the pro rata part is. Okay. Second question, most likely will be missing figures. Okay. Wherein they'll give you the journal and they will put question marks in the middle. Now, in this question mark, you're supposed to write down the whole question and fill up the question marks in order to make the presentation better. Whichever answers you have calculated, make sure you put a box on those ones. Okay. Highlight them, maybe underline them. Do something which shows that you are the one who's found the answer. Give working note references. Out of question 10A and question 10B, missing figures is the one that students find overwhelming. They feel like it's a tough question. Not really. See properly. If the question has oversubscription and forfeiture, that question is going to be difficult. Okay. So probably the other option might have an easier solution to it. So I would say out of the two, check the one which has oversubscription and forfeiture together. If it has, then go for the next option because you are more likely to not make a mistake there. Okay. Now we have section number B. Section B, first question number 11, of course, objective questions. This you can solve. See, there are only 5 questions here. Okay. The maximum time you can take is 10 minutes. Like I told you, into two for everything. Correct. Now, in such a case, go ahead, keep doing it. This is going to be quick. This is not very tricky. The sums of section B are in itself only small. Okay. So even the objective case-based questions are going to be small. We have ratios, we have cash flow statement, we have comparative and common size. They are going to ask you interest coverage ratio, debt service ratio. There are so many ratios they can ask you, right? So learn on the formulas of ratios properly. Okay. Then question number 12 consists of common size and comparative statements. Remember here, this time the question might be a little tricky, wherein they either might give you a pie chart or a bar graph, something. The question will not be direct numericals. They'll give you a visual presentation. You're supposed to derive the numericals from it, derive the figures and solve. The answer will be as is. Okay. The answers will not change. The question might be presented differently. Please, please, please be careful here because it's such an easy chapter. We skip on it usually. The next what we have is we have ratios. In ratios, again, 4 questions will be there. You have to solve any 3. So assess which ones you know best and do it accordingly. Always remember to start a question on a new page. So question 13, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that way what happens is if you feel like you want to solve all the 4, don't do it when you are starting your paper. Do it if you have extra time. Okay. Never solve extra questions as you're going with the paper. Do it only in your extra time. Leave space everywhere. Leave good 4, 4, 5 lines after each sub question and all, so that even if you realize that there is a mistake that is happening after you finish the paper, you have space to correct it, or you have the space to write down something extra. Okay. Next, finally, question number 14, cash flow statement. Again, you'll have an option here. You will have question 14A, question 14B. Question 14A might be a question wherein you have to prepare the whole cash flow statement, and question 14B might be a question wherein they might ask you only operating or operating investing or operating financing. So operating is something that they usually test you on. Okay. Try to finish this entire section within 40 minutes. Okay. Now, if I had to score 90 plus, the first thing I would do is I would start my paper with section B. Okay, here I would get my 20 marks sure shot because this is more format based, less intellectual, less thinking, nothing tricky can come here. Okay. Next, what I would do is I would go ahead and I would definitely target some things like dissolution. I would definitely target something like final accounts. Okay. Here itself, 6 plus 6 gives me 12 marks. Okay. So that is 20 plus another 12, 32 is right here. After which I would definitely go ahead and check admission and fundamentals, whichever chapter you're good at, select one of them, study it accordingly, and finish it off. So this way we are good with like 6 plus 10, another 16 marks. Okay, then comes shares is a lengthy chapter, because of which, even though it has a high weightage, there is of course some amount of difficulty you will face to revise the chapter. So revise it when you've finished most of your portion and you've finished partnership probably, and then you have enough time to do shares. Okay. And then finally, here in this part, I would aim at doing goodwill. Again, goodwill is very easy. I'm expecting this year that will have a proper question. Okay. Quite unlikely, meaning it has not happened since the past few years. But this year, I think Goodwill would have a 3 marker full question in itself. Okay. Then again, redemption of debentures, most students find tricky. So here, maybe you might not be able to score as much. Dates are difficult. Ledger account takes a lot of time. Issue of debentures, very, very easy. Again, something you can do easily solvable. Nothing great here. Retirement and death, I would choose the death option because death option is easier and would help you do the question faster. Also, always choose the option that will help you finish the paper faster. Okay, and then question number one, of course, you need time. When you reach question number one, you need time, 20 minutes at least. So you should have at least 30 minutes, because 20 minutes you will take to solve question number one. The rest of the 10 minutes, you can sit and do the whole paper once again, meaning you can go ahead and check everything. Remember, presentation is key. Okay. Somebody who gets 90 plus has to have a very clean paper, has to have proper numbering. The question should be properly, like I can see the question paper properly is one of the things. Sorry, I can see the question number properly is one of the things that I would definitely tell you guys if you are aiming for 90 plus. Okay. So this is a basic understanding of how the paper goes about. Now, going ahead, I'm going to share some videos on each question, what I would basically aim at if I'm doing MCQs, if I'm doing, let's say, retirement and death, which are the topics I would definitely go and study. Okay. Great. All the very best. And thank you for watching.